Hello everyone, this is another video for my channel called Life Hacks. Today I will be discussing business writing since I am a technical writer and study technical communication. I do think I have some valuable information I can share with you all. A lot of people will find this topic boring, but what if I told you how important it is to have strong communication skills no matter what background you have? Whether you are a blue collar, white collar worker, being able to advocate for yourself verbally and in writing is important. For example, what if a credit card company screws you over and you need to advocate for yourself and you need to read the disclaimer, understand what it means, and then explain how they told you one interest rate, but then you were given another. Having communication skills is absolutely essential. So I also tutor reading and writing, mostly more on the creative side, but also essay writing. And so I'm going to be going through, I'm not going to be reading this whole article. You can look it up and find it for free through Harvard Business Review. And by the way, you can get access to 3 free articles from Harvard Business Review before they ask you to pay for a subscription. So anyway, this article I read and I just thought it was helpful, and I thought some of the tips were meaningful, and I think it could also apply not just to business professionals but to students as well. Anyone who has to write an email or any type of communication, it's just, I thought that these tips were good. So I'm going to go through and talk about each of the tips and then talk about my own experiences. By the way, the author here, Carolyn O'Hara, is also read a couple other articles from her when I was in graduate school. So she's an established technical communicator who's had many articles published. I remembered her name from graduate school. I don't know why I tell people I went to graduate school. People don't like to hear that unless they're a recruiter or HR. In general, people don't like to hear that you have a master's degree, but I really think it added value to my life, and I don't regret getting my master's, even though some people told me it was a waste of time and I should go get a beauty license instead. Someone actually told me that. But anyway, I got my master's, and for me, it improved my writing skills, and it just made it easier to get a job. Like, before I would have to apply to, 50 jobs and then I would finally get a call. Now it's like I apply to 10 and I get a call. So I definitely noticed a trend of having it made my life easier. Now you can still be an excellent writer and communicator. You do not need a master's degree. I'm just saying, or even a degree at all, you can learn all these skills on your own. I'm just saying it just happened to add value to my life, and I don't regret it despite having student loan debt. So basically, let's dive into this article. And this is going to focus on technical writing and business writing. I would like to talk about creative writing, which is an area I need to improve on. I wish I was a better creative writer. But anyway, this is going to be on the more technical side today. So I'm going to be reading clips here and there and then commenting. Oh, and before I begin, I want to say one other thing. If you like to make YouTube videos, you can make your own video just like I'm doing. I'm using this Zoom feature to do this. And basically, I'm just creating a meeting, even though I'm the only participant. And then I'm sharing my screen. And then under more, you hit record. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this video and I'm going to put it in the free app called Video Editor and trim it a bit, and then maybe add some other clips. So these are all things that you can get for free if you want to be able to make a video. I'm still learning. I'm new to this. I've made videos before, but not edited them. So it's really fun. I enjoy being a content creator. So anyway, I just wanted to share that tip with you. If you need to create like a presentation for PowerPoint and you want to throw a video in there, you can use Zoom and Video Editor as tools at your disposal, and they are free. So let's get back to the article here. Overworked managers with little time might think that improving their writing is tedious or even frivolous exercise. But knowing how to fashion an interesting and intelligent sentence is essential to communicating effectively, winning business, and setting yourself apart. I absolutely agree with that. I've worked with people from a wide range of backgrounds, and when people have stronger communication skills, they're better negotiators. And like I said, they can advocate for themselves. others, their departments. They can build a case, they can make a good argument. It's about really, it is kind of about being able to make a good argument. And even if you're making an argument of how to make fried chicken, and that's why I made a video on how to make fried chicken. It was not just because I absolutely love fried chicken. It was, can I communicate? I was testing myself. Can I communicate something sort of simple that's time consuming in a video, edit it down? So part of my motivation for creating that video wasn't just about fried chicken. It was, can I use these tools at my disposal, create an engaging video, which got very few views. Interestingly, other videos I put very little effort into have gotten more views, but that's okay, you know, because it's all a learning process. So anyway, I digress. Back to this video. I like this one. And this does not apply to creative writing, in my opinion, but it does apply to technical writing, business writing. Think before you write. Before you put pen to paper or hands to a keyboard, consider what you want to say. The mistake that many people make is that they start writing prematurely, says Gardner. They work out the thoughts as they're writing, which makes their writing less structured, meandering, and repetitive. Now, I want to stop there because I do think this is good for business writing, but like, let's say you have a kid and they're trying to improve their writing skills. You don't have to just say, look, just think before you write and just get it right, make it clear. It's totally fine to give them journals and have them write in their journals and write in a messy way and put no boundaries on it just to get them involved in writing more. And then you can always edit things later. So for me growing up, writing in journals really helped me improve my writing skills and it got me interested in writing. So I wouldn't say this rule always applies. Now it does apply. I mean, it is important when you're writing the email to think before you write, and emails can get people in trouble. So I do think it's good to have a polished email and to be careful what you write in emails because they can bite you in the blank later on. Anyway, so yes, I agree with this tip, but not all the time. It just depends on what type of writing you're doing and who your audience is. Anyway, but in general, yes, it's a pretty good idea. Be direct. I definitely agree with this, especially for business writing. Make your point right up front. Many people find that the writing style and structure they develop in school doesn't work as well in the business world. Definitely seen this as I tutor kids. We teach them this, methodology where we're teaching an introduction. At the end of the introduction, you put the thesis statement and then you have the body paragraphs. So you're basically introducing the topic, and then at the end of the paragraph, you're putting the main, subject. And we learned this in high school or middle school or whatever. And now we're teaching kids this in 4th grade even. So basically that is just a model. But in business writing, like they want you to cut to the chase. That thesis statement should not go at the end. It should go at the beginning. Get right to your point. I definitely have seen firsthand how this is important, especially for emails, business reports, standard operating procedures. Even with technical writing, you'll have like a purpose and a scope, and normally like that's at the very beginning, and it just upfront right away says this is the purpose of this document, or this document spells XYZ or provides instructions for this. So that way anyone who picks it up doesn't have to waste time reading through a whole paragraph or several pages before they know the purpose and the main point of that document. So this definitely applies to technical writing. So I'm going to read from the article again. One of the greatest diseases of business writing is postponing the message to the middle part of the writing. Yeah, exactly what I was saying. So it's just like get straight to the point, basically. Cut the fat. And this applies to all types of writing. But I'm going to read a little bit about this, and then I'm going to talk about plain language. So don't use 3 words when 1 word would do, says Blackburn. Read your writing through critical eyes and make sure that each word works towards your larger point. Cut every unnecessary word or sentence. That's hard for me to do. I struggle with this one. In my last job, I definitely would get overly detailed sometimes. And because of the type of work I did before, it was really more necessary to convey instructions in a simpler way and use more images. So I had to learn that. It's definitely something I struggle with. But then there's been times when having additional details and a lot of content is essential. So like in the new role that I'm still training on, I'm learning to write for a different audience in a different subject matter. And having a lot of details is good, but at the same time, you don't want to use overly flowery, complex language. It's not going to make sense. Clarity is the goal, especially if you're writing some form of instruction. You want it to be clear. It's not time to show off your high level of vocabulary. You want things to make sense to people of all grade levels. And that goes back to these principles that this person's bringing up in this article are also principles of plain language. And just so you know, actually all of our government agencies are supposed to be following plain language principles, and that is writing clear content, and whatever content is released to the public is supposed to be clear, easy to understand. Of course, I did research with my professors, and we actually did research on how well government agencies are doing following the law. Like they're supposed to have a plain language style guide and a web page dedicated to explaining what plain language is and following principles. And we literally, a whole group of us, like 5 of us, did research on this to see how well governments were, agencies in the US were complying with plain language regulation. And actually 60% of agencies that we looked at were not in compliance. So interestingly, hopefully we're gonna have, I have not been part of the redo of the project, but my professor and former professor and advisor did a part 2 follow-up on the research proposal. Hopefully we can get published. We did get published once. I didn't get to attend the conference, but anyway, she was planning on releasing the findings of the follow-up to see if there's been any improvement in more government agencies, like basically following principles of plain language. So I know this stuff might bore some of you, but to me, I totally can geek out on this stuff. Like there's definitely a librarian side of me. Anyway, but I'm totally digressing and going off topic a bit. But what I'm trying to say is plain language these principles are part of plain language, and it's all about having clarity, clear information that people can understand, because sometimes previously there's a lot of complexity, especially in legal language. And the problem with that is then people don't always know how to follow the law, or they don't understand, black and white. They can't understand what is asked of them. And there's been deception as a result of that. For example, the credit card statements that are so hard to read and follow when you first sign up for a credit card, it's almost like they're designed to deceive you, which is totally wrong. But basically, there's been a push for there to be more clarity, more clear content, so people can understand what they're signing up for, and the devil isn't just hiding in the details. So anyway, back to the article. Avoid jargon in $10 words. Again, this is like similar. So you don't need to have super flowery long words. You can say the same thing in less. And when I first heard about this concept, when I was studying aspects of plain language, I was like, well, sometimes in my literature classes, they kind of encourage the use of flowery languages. But in technical writing, they really don't. It's just get straight to the point and write in a clear manner. You don't need the $10 words. This is a good one, the next tip is good no matter what type of writing you're dealing with. Read what you write. Put yourself in your reader's shoes. Is your point clear and well-structured? Are the sentences straightforward and concise? Blackburn suggests reading passages out loud. That's where those flaws reveal themselves, the gaps in your arguments, the clunky sentence, the section that's 2 paragraphs too long, she says. So yes, I think reading out loud is good. If you are going to put on a presentation, you can record yourself with Zoom, or just record yourself with your camera on your laptop. And if you want to record yourself going through the PowerPoint presentation, definitely use Zoom. So that way you can see how the presentation will come across and you can see how you're speaking before you actually deliver that PowerPoint presentation. Why not give it a dress rehearsal where you read out loud? And then reading your own writing out loud is good. It definitely is something I try to follow. Whether I'm writing something technical or creative, I think reading out loud is a good way to, I notice when I do that, I definitely catch flaws or mistakes easily. Sometimes when you're just reading them and you're not reading them out loud, you kind of glaze over and you don't even catch the errors in your own work. Practice every day. This is a hard one, especially if you're really busy, but anyone can improve their skills, whether you're 4 years old or whether you're 99 years old. If you practice, your writing will get better. So as this article states, writing is a skill, this is Blackburn, and skills improve with practice. Gardner suggests reading well-written material every day and being attentive to word choice, sentence structure, and flow. Start paying attention to the style of the Wall Street Journal, he says. I used to read the Wall Street Journal on occasion, but I don't now. I don't have a subscription, but I will say their content is very well written. I like the New York Times as well. I have really been bad about reading newspapers. I used to read them daily, but I think I kind of steered away from that. Our world is so crazy right now. I need to kind of pick and choose what I consume because it can be really overwhelming. And I also like using YouTube as a source of information. But anyway, practicing every day does make a difference. Even if you're just writing in a journal, you'd be surprised at how you can improve your own writing skills if that's your goal. And it's definitely worthwhile. Like I said, no matter what type of job you have, having strong writing and communication skills is going to allow you to advocate for yourself and others. And that's very important, especially when you're dealing with any kind of conflict. So here at the end of the article, they just kind of spell out, summarize, plan what you say to make your writing more direct and effective, use words sparingly and keep sentences short and to the point, avoid jargon and fancy words, strive for clarity instead. So when you write news articles though, you don't want to just use short sentences, you want sentence variety. So really, I think I like sentence variety. Though I don't think it looks good when you just have short sentences. So I don't completely agree with everything that's in here, but yes, write it so it makes sense, basically. The don'ts. Don't argue that you simply can't write. I've had young people say this and I'm like, you can learn, you can improve. And sometimes what I found is if you can just give them a writing task that they enjoy, then their writing is going to improve. But if you just try to force them to write about a topic they don't like, it's like they're just going to resist. So it's something I've learned as a part-time tutor over the years is really trying to find activities that kids are going to enjoy or make it fun. And then they want to write and they're inspired. And then, it's not like pulling teeth trying to get them to write more. So anyway, anyone can become a better writer with practice. I agree 100%. Pretend that your first draft is perfect or even passable. What? Oh, we're talking about don'ts. Don't. I'm like, what? Don't pretend that your first draft is perfect and even passable. Every document can be improved. That's absolutely true. But sometimes you're out of time. You just have to get whatever you have done and just do your best. That happens, especially if you're dealing with like very strict deadlines. But anyway, don't bury your argument. Present your main idea as soon as possible. I definitely agree with that for technical writing, especially instructions. Don't be afraid to share. It's hard to share your own writing. Like I'm with my writing, if I write like a news article or something business related, I'm not so attached to it. And it's kind of like not a big deal for me to share. But my creative writing, I'm definitely more sensitive about that. But anyway, I feel like, what's the word? Self-conscious about my creative writing, but technical writing, I'm kind of like not so concerned about people's reactions, I guess, for some reason. Anyway, so basically I thought this article, was fairly short, but I just thought it gave some pretty good tips. And then it has some, case studies here. If you'd like to read it further, like I said, you can get a free copy of it. Oh, she's written for foreign policy too. Yeah, I've read her work before. Anyway, I ramble. I need to stop rambling so much. So I hope that these tips are helpful to you, and don't be surprised if I have more videos like this, even if they only get like 4 views, because this just happens to be a topic I know about because I've worked as a technical communicator for 10 years and studied it. So this is definitely an area I feel like comfortable talking about. So yes, there's definitely a part of me that's like a nerdy librarian, and I'm definitely passionate about writing, although I still feel I could still improve. And that's why I'm not just reading this stuff to share with you all. I'm reading it for my own growth, basically, as well. Hopefully it's a reminder of how I should write, and just I just believe in constant self-improvement and just learning more and more so I can expand my own skills and be more effective in the type of work that I do for my day job. So I hope you found this interesting, and hopefully I will come up with videos that do add value to people's lives. Cheers.